Mr. LaMalfa, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman Bentz, and also Chairman Western, for allowing us to have this field hearing for our Natural Resources Committee. Thanks for our panelists. Thanks for all the audience showing up here today and being heard. Let me go to Mr. Phillips here. You've mentioned that there's a variety of projects in California that could be built, and for example, we have many that are on the books that have been engineered or at least studied in the past, and the Auburn Dam, I think, has even been come back into being mentioned, which is a significant amount of storage. So what can be done to get the higher ups in BOR, since you representing BOR in the conversation along with Bryant? What can we get these folks upstairs to start agreeing with us on the need for water storage instead of the slow slog we're seeing with Sites Reservoir and every other project? Talking with the Dykstra family, Lake Success, in order to get 10 more feet added to it, 28,000 acre feet, 20 plus years of jabbering about that.
Congress is going to have to just direct which projects are to be built and get them going, because agency staff have figured out the formula to keep any project from ever getting built, because the time to get the environmental permitting done is longer than any election cycle, so it's just a never-ending loop. So Congress just needs to say, these are the projects you will build, and here's the funding for it.
Do you notice there's a change in attitude depending on which political party is in power in the White House or maybe in the governor's office?
I've been through a lot of different administrations. There is a change of attitude, and I've also noticed that a lot of the agency staff are the same.
They stay the same. Yeah, they outlast us. That's the counter argument for term limits, because the bureaucracy stays in place and we're here and gone. So I know it looks self-serving for an elected to say no term limits, but it's indeed very frustrating for us on this end. I'm a farmer in my real life too. And Mr. Fukuda, how much have we spent on high-cost rail here in California, you think?
You couldn't. Wow, what a first committee testimony. I don't know, but I'm going to say too much. I lost track in the billions, but I'm going to tell you right now, it's underwater, right where we told them not to put it.
Literally.
They asked a bunch of farmers, where should you put it? Don't put it in the subsidence bowl. Where'd they put it? In the subsidence bowl. At the end of the day, wake up and ask a farmer what you should do in the morning. You're going to get a straight answer. They didn't listen, and now they're dealing with the ramifications.
Yeah, I've taken a wild guess. It's hard to keep track, but I think they've maybe spent around $20 billion for a project originally told to be $33 billion, and there's probably estimates are conservative at $120 billion. We hear in our committee from some of our opponents that, oh, this water storage is so expensive. And when you add the costs of the floods, just we saw at the Dykstra Dairy here and the neighbors there, what they're going to get in crop losses and orchards being wiped out, the other damage you get from floods to communities and just everything else, the flood value itself. And the water has value, of course. Hydroelectric power. Me and Mr. Bentz share that Oregon border there where they want to tear out 4 perfectly good hydroelectric dams. We want CO2-free power coming from either nuclear power plants or hydro, I guess, if we want to get rid of CO2. I remind you, CO2 is only, take this home, 0.04% of our atmosphere. It's not the end of our world we have in CO2, okay? So water storage means good things. I'm representing Lake Shasta and Lake Oroville up there and sites. We have an opportunity with raising Shasta, as was mentioned, 630,000 acre feet by just an 18-foot raise on an existing project. Sites Reservoir, which would be an easy project to build, right in Jeff Sutton's office is like 10 feet from it practically, would be an easy build. 1.5 million acre feet when full. That's 2.1 million acre feet for all Californians, whether it's environmental water or farm water, and it'll all make hydroelectric power if allowed to. So it's all pluses. And it even gives us a luxury on Lake Shasta of they don't let the water out for agriculture in the spring anymore because they want to keep as much. They want to keep the lake fuller, higher elevation, so the water at the bottom stays colder, so they can release that water off the bottom later in the fall, so the river will be 1 degree colder in temperature, thinking that's going to make all the difference in the amount of fish that might come up the Sacramento River. I tell you, since 1992, it's hundreds of thousands of new acre feet have been flushed out through the Delta. We now have less smelt, we have less salmon, and it's futile. So I got a bill for you on that. The House passed it, H.R. 1, to streamline a lot of this nonsense in getting projects done, as well as forestry, as was mentioned. Forestry is very important for water actually getting down the hill when we have the right amount of trees per acre. Mr. Westerman's going to hit that one out of the park probably in a minute, as well as these great bills we have here. Calvert's bill, the Fish Act. Why can't we have one-stop shopping for permits? It's just a constant spanking line of having to go through all these different lettered agencies to try and get anything done, because they know, as was said, it's a ball game of trying to stop it. So anyway, I need to stop there, but I look forward to working with you folks. God bless you for hanging in there. Please don't give up on us. We got good ideas. We're going to push them through. I'll yield back.